Theo filled with dread by major setback in Coronation Street video. The devastating loss of Billy is beginning to affect everyone on the street, with the reality of his death sinking in for those left behind. Billy was killed when the minibus he was driving home from Debbie's wedding was caught up in the chaos of Corriedale and crashed. While the others managed to escape, Billy remained stuck inside, unable to release his seatbelt. As flames spread and the vehicle became dangerously unstable, it seemed certain the minibus would soon explode. Theo returned to the wreckage just as Billy finally freed himself. In a split-second decision driven by hatred and resentment over Billy's close bond with Todd, Theo reattached the seatbelt, leaving Billy trapped before walking away moments before the bus detonated. In newly released footage, Todd and Theo are later joined by Summer and George, who have just come back from viewing the heartfelt memorials placed along the street in Billy's honor. Summer is deeply moved by the messages people have written, particularly one that reads, "In my darkest moment, you stood by me. You were God's most beautiful messenger." Overwhelmed by grief, she breaks down as the truth hits her that Billy is gone, and she has lost another father figure so soon after losing Paul. Theo appears unsettled by the situation and suggests stepping away to give Todd, George, and Summer some space. Although it seems like a thoughtful gesture, it is clear he is struggling to cope with his own crushing guilt as he faces Summer's raw sorrow. "Why did it have to be him?" Summer asks, and Theo's reply that it may have been what Billy would have wanted feels deeply inappropriate given the circumstances. When Summer admits she can't bear the idea of being alone in the flat she once shared with Billy, Todd responds with warmth and understanding. Theo, however, quickly jumps in to suggest she stay with them for as long as she needs, speaking before Todd can even reply. Unlike Todd, Theo's offer feels forced, driven more by obligation than genuine care. Theo has always shown signs of jealousy whenever anyone else competes for Todd's attention, whether Billy, Sarah, or Summer. The idea of Summer, whom Todd sees as his daughter, moving in with them is the last thing Theo wants, especially as he silently carries the burden of knowing he caused the death of the man she loved as a father. A long-running Coronation Street mystery appears to have been resolved in deeply emotional scenes as Shona gives birth following the devastating Corriedale crash. Viewers were left devastated during Wednesday night's episode, as heavily pregnant Shona was rushed into surgery in a desperate attempt to save her unborn daughter after the tragic accident. Fans of the iconic soap were overwhelmed with emotion as the fallout from Corriedale continued to unfold. The dramatic crossover chaos left several Weatherfield locals injured, and the consequences are still being felt as lives hang in the balance. Among those caught up in the horror was Shona, who was expecting a baby girl. For months, she had been grappling with the heartbreaking reality that her unborn child had developed a tumor, and that the only available surgery could put both mother and baby at serious risk. In the latest episode, Shona was transferred back to Weatherfield General after initially being treated at Houghton General for injuries sustained in the crash. Unable to rest, David headed out early in the morning and ended up at Roy's Rolls, where Bernie offered him a comforting cup of tea. He admitted he couldn't sleep ahead of the risky procedure, and explained that a specialist surgeon was traveling a long distance to take over the case. While David sat quietly with his drink, another customer entered the cafe and mentioned the tragic death of Billy, which had made headlines in the local paper. Tensions soon escalated when David later crossed paths with the same man in the hospital car park, resulting in a heated exchange. Panicking, David rushed to the ward only to discover that the original top surgeon had failed to arrive. Despite still recovering from the seizure he suffered during the crash and being advised not to drive, David was forced to get behind the wheel after streetcars let him down. As David vented his anger beside Shona's hospital bed, the man he had argued with revealed himself as Vincent Harper, the consultant who had driven hundreds of miles to step in at the last minute. Hours later, a nurse delivered the long-awaited update that both mother and baby were doing well. The newborn had been taken to neonatal intensive care, but was breathing independently and in a stable condition. Later scenes showed the consultant listening to a birthday message from his young daughter, joking that it was the worst possible day to celebrate after the Christmas rush. He later spoke with David, reassuring him that the tumor was hopefully not cancerous, and that the tracheostomy was only temporary until surgery could be carried out in a few months' time. David apologized for the earlier parking dispute and was overjoyed to learn that his newborn daughter shared the same birthday as the consultant. He then returned to Shona, telling her their baby was doing brilliantly and suggesting that Billy must have been watching over them. The consultant later returned to the cafe, where Bernie quietly revealed that Billy had been her son-in-law. As the episode drew to a close, Shona and David stood in awe beside their baby girl, surrounded by medical equipment. Fighting back tears, Shona admitted she already loved her daughter more than words could express. The conversation soon turned to names, and David suggested Harper, in honor of the surgeon who saved their child's life, a choice they both happily agreed on. However, the emotional storyline took another twist. Viewers had previously spotted a mysterious woman named Jody during the Corriedale crossover, watching Shona at Houghton General before later arriving in Weatherfield. While Shona was in surgery, the woman was seen sniffing her clothes, and in the final moments of the episode, she watched the happy family through the hospital window. When asked if she was a proud mother, she corrected the assumption by calling herself a proud aunt, seemingly revealing that she is Shona's long-lost sister. Fans immediately took to social media to share their reactions. One viewer praised David's maturity and support, while others described the scenes between him and his newborn daughter as truly touching. Some also speculated about upcoming drama involving other residents, while many expressed sympathy for Bernie following Billy's death. Attention quickly turned to the mystery surrounding Jody, with viewers questioning her connection to Shona and noting their shared tattoo. Many were convinced the reveal confirmed a secret sibling relationship, while others simply expressed relief that Shona and her baby were safe after such an emotional episode. Coronation Street viewers were quick to share the same request after a brand new character made his debut in recent episodes. Drama continued to unfold in Weatherfield as the soap explored the emotional fallout from Monday's devastating events. The episode focused heavily on David and Shona as she gave birth to their baby girl, while the rest of the community struggled to come to terms with the loss of Billy. One particular moment caught viewers' attention when Bernie encountered an unexpectedly talkative stranger while working at Roy's Rolls. The newcomer was revealed to be Dr. Vincent Harper, a specialist who had traveled from Bristol to carry out Shona's high-risk surgery. Just weeks earlier, David and Shona had been left shattered after learning their unborn child could have a potentially cancerous condition, requiring a complex and dangerous procedure. The surgeon's brief stop at the cafe sparked curiosity among fans, who began to wonder whether his role might extend beyond a single episode. While ordering tea, Dr. Harper spoke with Bernie about Billy's passing, casually remarking that there were very few gay vicars. Bernie appeared startled and questioned how he knew that detail, leaving the doctor flustered as he explained he had read it in the newspaper. Viewers then followed Dr. Harper through the rest of his day as he arrived at Weatherfield General to step in as the replacement surgeon for Shona's operation. After a lighthearted confrontation with David in the hospital car park, the doctor successfully carried out the difficult procedure and later reassured the relieved parents that the surgery had gone well. He explained that Shona faced a lengthy recovery and that their newborn daughter had been fitted with a tracheostomy to help her breathe. Coronation Street continues airing at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and ITVX.